Regardless of what your movement capabilities and goals are, we all need to have a powerful connection between our feet and our glutes. This is something that's just innately built within us, but a lot of us have lost this connection or never even really developed it over time. And whether you are someone who's in pain, whether that's in your foot, your ankles, your knees, your hip, your low back, or you're trying to walk and run more effectively or improve your athletic performance, this video and this routine is going to be extremely beneficial and powerful for you. Now, one thing I'm not going to do is just show you foot or glute exercises in isolation. And the reason for that is because our foot needs to be fixated on the floor to truly build a connection between our foot and our glute. Now, so many people are trying to just strengthen their glutes doing clamshells, or they're doing hip extension exercises, which I'm not saying are inherently bad, but to truly build a good connection between the two, we need to have the foot fixated on the floor. Now, two perspectives I really want you to understand here is one being there's a fascial connection directly from our foot to our glute. It starts in the plantar fascia, runs behind our leg into our glute. So if we can perform certain exercises to co-contract, meaning isometrically contract simultaneously, then we can start building more of this fascial connection, quite literally. And the second perspective is biomechanics. When our foot changes shape, our hip should also be rotating and moving in respect to our foot based off of our human design, based off of our biomechanics, and vice versa. When our foot changes shape, our hip should also be respecting what it is doing. And that's what we're going to be diving into today. To make these exercises more effective, we're going to start off with one position that focuses on fascia decompression. When we can allow our fascia to glide, release more adhesions so that there's more fluidity, this is going to be more effective for us to build a genuine connection between our feet and our glutes. All you're gonna need is a block from Block Therapy or a tightly rolled up towel for this fascia decompression position. And let's position the towel or block between the calf and the hamstring. So we're targeting two areas at once here. You can have this higher up or lower down. Both are going to have its benefits, and you can work both if you would like. Now, all we're doing is slowly applying and building pressure into this area. The combination of pressure over time while breathing diaphragmatically is going to help release the adhesions in the tissue, help create more fluidity and glide so that we can build more of a powerful connection. Now, we want to stay here for about 3 to 5 minutes, and the first thing I want you to do is just focus on exhaling completely. I'm having my hands in front of me. That's going to bring my low ribs down slightly. Exhale until you can't exhale anymore. Hold that, and then nice and slow, inhale through the nose. And feel not just your belly, but also your rib cage expanding. This is teaching our diaphragm to not only expand the belly, but to use its full capacity to also expand the rib cage. And we're just gonna take as many breaths as we need here. You can slowly surge to the left as you settle in, and then you can surge to the right. You're gonna get some incredible relief. You might even feel that your knees, your feet, and your hips feel better just after doing this. But it's also important that we re-educate the body with these correctives that I'll be showing you. Once you spend 3 to 5 minutes here, respecting your limits, not getting in too much pain, but just enough so that you can breathe through it, you're gonna slowly exhale up and off. You're gonna perform that on the other side before we move on to the exercises. The first thing to sense is how our foot changes shape as we rotate our hips. So let's bring our feet underneath our pelvis like this. Just get into a normal standing position. Feel your heel, the ball of the big toe, and the fifth metatarsal head all making contact on the floor the entire time, and having 50-50 weight on each side, not leaning over towards one side or another. Nice and slow. We're going to rotate over to the right, and then over to the left. Now, as we're doing this, I want you to become aware of your feet. Are they starting to change shape? And if they are, how are they changing shape? As I turn over to the right, I feel my foot arch rising into supination, but my hip joint is in internal rotation. That's a really key thing to note. As I turn away from that side, my hip joint is in external rotation, but my foot arch is starting to flatten. It's starting to pronate. Now, this isn't dumping in as a compensation. It is just actually doing the proper action it's supposed to. We need the foot arch to flatten to then spring back up to propel us out of the late phase of the gait cycle. So do about 10 to 15 rotations on each side. And then once you've done that and you're actually feeling your foot shape is starting to change as you go from right to left, then we're gonna start with our first exercise. Now this is gonna be a kickstand hinge variation while creating rotation. And the first thing we wanna do is bring all of our weight to one side, to one leg. So mine's just gonna be on the right, and then I'm just kickstanding the other one beside it and behind it. And as I'm here, let's bring that stack together. Bring the low ribs down, bring the pelvis into a neutral alignment, and we're going to start off by kicking the hips back like this. As I'm doing this, I'm really feeling the back part of my pelvis starting to open up. This is creating internal rotation here. And this is gonna be really, really important to sense also with our foot. Now, you might be able to only get this far down. Some people might be able to get further down. Just make sure you're not compensating by rounding your back. And the biggest focus here is feeling your hips moving back the entire time, and the back part of the pelvis is opening. Now, once we are here, let's bring in what we just learned from the rotations. We felt the foot arch building as we rotated to the right, and then flattening as we rotated to the left if we're working on our right side. Now let's get into a hip hinged position in respect to what feels right and necessary for you. Once we are here, you can bring your arms out to your side, or you can cross them over like this. I'm already feeling my glutes lighting up, and that's really good. And we are going to rotate over to the left. As you do this, I want you to feel more of your arch is dropping and you're pronating the foot. My knee is tracking over my toes a little bit more now relative to if I were to turn in the other direction. And we need the knees to go over the toes to actually pronate the foot properly. So we're gonna rotate over to the left. Don't bring your weight back to that left side. Keep it on that stance leg. And then we're going to rotate back over to the right. Now I am feeling a lot of opening here. Now I'm in internal rotation, and feel more of your foot arch is building. So I want you to perform nice and slow, about 5 repetitions on each side. And then you're gonna be performing that on the left. Do about 2 to 3 sets of that. Now, if you really want to advance this, you can balance completely on that right side, and then you're just gonna be doing the exact same thing. But make sure you're not losing those foot contacts the entire time, because this is starting to wake up our foot. It's also teaching us how our foot shape needs to change relative to our hips and our glutes, which are the primary drivers to really help us move throughout the gait cycle. This next exercise is gonna be focusing a little bit more on propulsion, the late phase of our gait cycle, which is very important. And this is gonna be building a isometric connection with our fascia and our muscles between our foot all the way to the glute. All you're gonna need is a wall here. I'm gonna be turning my back facing you, so I'll just instruct you from here. Now take about, I don't know, we're gonna be about 3-4 feet away from the wall, and you're gonna be leaning your hands into the wall. You're gonna bring all of your weight onto one leg at a time. Now I want you to bend your knee over your toes, but don't allow the knee to cave in. We're just bringing it directly over that second toe. Now, as you're doing that, I want you just to hover the heel off of the ground. This could be a centimeter, this could be an inch, but let's not go too high to start. Now you're gonna start feeling the calf, the Achilles, activating. As we're doing this, this is so important, I want you to grip and pull your toes into the floor. Imagine that there is either a wire or a pencil between your toes and your foot, and you're trying to grip that into the floor. Now that's going to trigger the plantar fascia. And now from here, we're going to bring the right or the opposite leg up into flexion like this, kind of like we're doing a stride, right? And as this is coming up, we're gonna feel our glute starting to engage. If you don't feel the glute is engaging, make sure you're bringing those ribs down. You're in more of a neutral to posterior pelvic tilt, just for the purpose of sensing the glutes here. And we're gonna be holding this for about 8 to 10 breaths. So again, this is what it will look like from a back viewed perspective. Once you've done 8 to 10 breaths on one side, then do that immediately on the other. You can do 2 to 3 sets on both sides. You're gonna wanna follow this routine multiple times a week, if not daily, for the next 2 to 4 weeks. That might seem like a good amount of time. However, it can take some time to develop a true relationship between your foot and your glutes. And this is only gonna benefit you the more you do it. Now for a routine breakdown, we started off with the calf and hamstring position, focusing on fascia decompression. You're gonna be spending 3 to 5 minutes there. And then we moved into the hip hinge with the airplane variation there. And you're gonna be doing 5 rotations on each hip, doing about 2 to 3 sets per hip, per side. And then we moved into the co-contraction using the wall, focusing more on propulsion. You're gonna be holding that for 8 to 10 breaths, doing 2 to 3 sets on each side. Following this routine is gonna build a powerful relationship between your feet and your glutes, and you're gonna notice a big improvement in your overall body performance and your pain.